Okay. Osiyo, Feather.
Osiyo.
Are you ready to show us around the garden and answer 7 questions?
Yes, I'd be happy to show you through the Cherokee Nation Heirloom Garden and Native Plant Site.
Great. So let's start by introducing yourself. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, please?
Hello, I'm Feather Smith. I'm the Cherokee Nation Ethnobiology Manager with the Secretary of Natural Resources Office. I've been working in this position since January of 2015. I am from Tahlequah, Oklahoma.
Perfect. So when did the Cherokee Nation start the heirloom garden and why?
So the conversations about the heirloom garden really started, I think around in 2005. I know we were growing at this site by 2006, and the seed bank quickly followed after that by any excess seeds that we had. But the conversation kind of started because we wanted to see some Cherokee seeds represented in these Svalbard Global Seed Vaults, which did eventually happen, but much later. We knew that Cherokees had always had heirloom crops, but the problem was that we really had a hard time finding those heirloom crops here within the Cherokee Nation. And so we were able to eventually find several of the crops, but we found that nobody was growing them for genetic preservation. So that became our new mission. We wanted to grow the heirloom crops, make sure that the genetics were being preserved, and then out of the excess that eventually came from that, we have been able to give those seeds back to Cherokee citizens who would be the rightful owners, which they truly belong to all Cherokees. And so we're able to get those seeds back out into Cherokee hands and preserve a little culture along the way.
Well, that's amazing. So how many plants do we have growing in the heirloom garden?
So out here on the native plant site itself, we have well over 100 plants, probably over 50 or more culturally important species that would be important for either medicines, foods, or utilitarian reasons.
And so I have a challenge for you. Can you name all of them in under 10 seconds?
I can probably name our Cherokee heirloom crops that quickly. So we have the Cherokee White Eagle corn, the Cherokee Colored White and Yellow Flower corns, Trail of Tears beans, Cherokee Long Greasy beans, Black and Brown Turkey Gizzard beans, the Georgia Candy Roaster squash, and the Cherokee Tan Pumpkin.
That was amazing. So what is our most sacred plant or crop growing in the heirloom garden? And what is it used for?
So as Cherokees, 7 is an important number for us. It's a sacred number for us, and we do have 7 sacred plants of the Cherokee. Fortunately, we are able to grow 5 of the 7 here on site. We've got one that's coming up right here behind us. It's kind of hidden here in the middle of everything. We've got a plant down here that's called golden seal, and it's down here in the middle, so it's a little bit more protected. This is pretty large for this plant. It was important for medicinal reasons. It's actually known to have some antifungal properties, so it tends to grow along with another one of our 7 sacred plants, which is American ginseng. They grow well together because ginseng likes to get fungus on its roots, and this actually protects the plant. And then we have some others as well, but one of the closest is our Cherokee, or as the red root. This is also known as prairie willow. Prairie willow grows as both a male and a female plant, and so we have both of those represented on this site. And this is really exciting because this has become a pretty rare plant. It's hard to find, and so every year as this plant gets bigger, we have to come in and we have to prune it anyway. And out of the clippings that we take off of this, we're often able to start new plants by dipping it down in some rooting compound, which we're able to give back out to the Cherokee community to make up for some of the loss that's naturally occurred.
That's amazing. So what made you want to work here?
So I actually had the question that started, Nancy Scott, who worked with me when I was Miss Cherokee, had come to me in 2014 and had let me know that at the time this position was opening up. I had a degree in fish and wildlife biology from Northeastern State University, and so this job happened to be within my realm, but I really had gone to school for wildlife. I had very limited botanical expertise, and so I talked with Pat Gwynn for quite a while and eventually was able to get brought into the position because of having the biological background and also having a cultural background. But I've had to learn almost everything while I've been out here on the job. I really enjoy being outside. I always knew I wanted to work outdoors, so it's been a really great fit.
So where do you see the heirloom garden in 10 years or beyond?
We're always kind of hoping to expand a little bit. You know, we're only able to grow our heirloom crops. We're only able to grow one variety each year of things like the corn and the squash because of cross-pollination. So we're always kind of hoping to have another site where we'll be able to grow some more of those in any given year. And then we also want to have a little bit more space so that we can continue doing things like starting new red root plants or new New Jersey tea plants that we can give back out into the community.
That's amazing. So Wado, thank you for taking us on a tour of the heirloom garden, Feather. Is there anything else you'd like to show us before we go?
So one of my favorite spots out here in the heirloom garden is actually this particular feature. You can see that a lot of our beds out here are laid out in culturally significant or relevant shapes. But this one is my favorite because this is the Cherokee water spider. Of course, we have a story about how she brought our first fire over, and so she was very important for that reason. But within our water spider, we have another of the Cherokee sacred plants represented. In the spider, we've got rattlesnake master growing, which is one of those 7. It's still pretty small because we're kind of early in the spring, but this plant is going to get to be about 5 to 6 feet tall. It'll have a really attractive white flower. It's a great attractor of pollinators, but also had a whole host of medicinal uses for it as well. So definitely one of my favorite spots on site.
Aw, Wado, Feather. We all love the heirloom garden and appreciate everything you do to perpetuate the Cherokee culture through plants.
Well, thank you for coming out.